name is Denise Williams, and this is Financially Focused. Now, we normally look at stocks and bonds and real estate and variety of investment options. But this time, in our series, The Power of the Purse, we want to look at the impact of health and wellness on wealth. And we're going to zero down on caregivers, because without a financial plan, the responsibility on caregivers, the responsibility for elder care or caring for a disabled child or family member can hit like a ton of bricks. Now, I just want to welcome my guest, Venish Wallace, owner of Eliza Care Nursing Services Provider. We're just going to have a conversation. You know my situation. You know, I have a child with special needs, so I know what it's like to be, a caregiver. I also know what it's like to be made redundant because I'm sleep deprived, making decisions while I'm yawning, one eye open, sleeping in the nights, and running back and forth to the hospital with my child. So I understand, and so this impact on the caregiver. But I want to talk about my friend Randy. So late in January 2022, she received the news her father was in a car accident. And her father's Keith, at the time he was 61, right? So a lot of your experience is in that age group.
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Now, the problem is the accident was a car accident, rainstorm, and Keith's car got hit by another car and he was injured. Now, it splintered his leg. Yeah, and you deal with a lot of that, don't you? Not really as a doctor, but the care.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so a lot of persons, when they have injuries in the hospital, they call your team to come in and help with the care after the doctors are finished.
Yes.
Yes. So when Randy, she's venting, shared the email, her father's leg was splintered. They put a metal rod to hold the leg together, but he'd been 61. He needed help to walk. Is that something that you've seen?
In my experience, of course, we have seen a lot of persons who are actually going through those situations, medical challenges, and we're there to help them and assist them.
Okay. So, but guess what? Randy's father had other issues, He had a heart condition, he had diabetes, and he wasn't taking medication.
Really?
How do you handle that when people just won't take the medication?
But this is a very difficult situation where clients don't want to take their medication because they're actually in denial of the fact that they actually need the medication. Of course, we have to remember that there are persons who believe in herbs, especially here in Jamaica. We believe,
bush tea
is supposed to work, or
yeah.
Garlic or turmeric will just fix the problem. We don't necessarily need our medication, but of course we do need our medication because the doctors know exactly what they're doing, and it does, help us to get better over time.
Right.
So yes, we experience a lot of that where persons actually don't want to take their medication, but you need to.
Okay, so you may be wondering, but this is Financially Focused. Why are we talking about care after surgery, a car accident, a person not taking their medication, having a heart condition and diabetes? But this is a financial reality, because an increasing number of professionals, of business persons who are adult children are taking care of their parents, and they're shouldering the burden with no pay and little outside help. This is a financial matter because they're taking care of their parents' meals, helping their parents shower, bandaging wounds, helping them up before they fall. We do have in our culture that, of course, the family should rally around. Okay, however, is there a financial plan in place? Okay, so this results in a unique set of challenges. So, we've got stress, different stresses. You know, we're talking about the financial strain. We're talking about lack of support from other family members. That's big.
Very big.
And the fatigue. You're trying to go to work, take care of parents, take care of kids, take care. You doing everything. Tell me what your experience has been in that. One person trying to do so much.
In my experience, this is a big thing. Oftentimes we're humans. We all get sick, you know, and oftentimes it's unexpected. Yes, we understand that we are going from day to day. However, we're not expecting to get sick. We're not expecting to meet in an accident. We're not expecting that we're going to have a stroke, a heart attack. We're not expecting that, even though that's the quote unquote reality of life.
Yeah.
Now, when one person gets sick, oftentimes it should be the entire family who wrap around that person and get that person back, you know, to somewhat sense of normality. However, that necessarily is not the case. It's always a person with the, you know, oh, it's mommy, oh, it's daddy. And at that point, that person who feels like, oh, it's mommy, oh, it's daddy, oh, it's my family member, those persons are often the time without the financial support. And having that challenge that they don't have the financial support, sometimes their only funds that comes in is just the paycheck to paycheck that, you know, typical persons live on.
Yeah.
So with that, you find the strain coming on, the stress coming on, bills unable to be paid, and then with all the medical bills that are coming in, they can't afford it. Now, my main thing is, and my experience, let's say my experience with this, is that it not only affects the person that is doing the work financially and helping that person getting back together, but it also worsens the condition of the person that's seeing that's happening. So oftentimes mommy see all the pressure that you're going through, and sometimes it's sad to say, mommy's like, okay, better the Lord take me home, because then I don't want so much pressure on my son or on my daughter.
Right.
So where that is concerned, you need financial support to take care of family.
And let's be very real. Some of these small but life-dependent tasks, emptying toilets and urinals,
Yes.
changing bedding every couple hours, you know, making sure medication is done, you know, 8 a.m., 4 p.m., 8 p.m. every day, measuring blood pressure morning and night, driving to and from doctor's appointments, you know. And usually, I'm not a doctor, I'm not even a nurse, but my experience, what I've seen, is that you have one injury at a certain age, it leads to other things.
It does.
That's what, have you seen that?
It does. It does. It's simple things like maybe hitting your toe on a stone.
Yeah.
You don't even know that you're diabetic.
Wow.
Then you went to you just maybe staying at home and just doing the home remedy. You're realizing this wound not getting better. You go to the doctor said, seems as if you're diabetic. Then automatically you have to do your blood sugar test, realize that your blood sugar is high. Take it from there, possibly losing even your foot, just going a little bit extreme on that. Now, when all of that starts to happen, you realize that you really need somebody to come in who understand how to care for that condition.
Yeah.
So that's where we come in,
Right.
as trained practical nurses.
Right.
That's where we come in to make sure that
Yeah.
we put medication together,
Yeah.
meal prep together,
Right.
blood sugar. We try our best to stabilize the blood sugar, stabilize our blood pressure, and trying to not necessarily eliminate other medical conditions, but we try to lessen that situation.
You know, and I can hear someone saying, oh, this has a cost. Yes, it does. Now, one of the things we want to really encourage you to do, if you are at the point where you can face the reality, you may be an only child, you may be the main breadwinner, whatever the situation is, think about the impact on your career. What is the cost of all caregiving falling on you versus the cost of insurance, investing, taking financial steps so that you can have the funds to pay caregiving services,
Yes.
yeah? So that it doesn't impact your career. Alternatively, if you're already in this situation, I have a friend with an adult child that had a stroke, and she's retired, and now she's the caregiver of her child that will permanently be her child.
Yes.
The question then, what happens? Well, now you're going to have to reach out to various agencies to get support. It's not easy when you're already in it, but I want to encourage you not to allow depression to make you don't act. That's what's important. True?
Yes. In the event where this is a reality,
Yes.
it does happen.
Yes.
We have to face it head on. There's
Yes.
no corner that you can dodge or go on a rock to dodge this reality that you're facing. Stress is something that will take a toll on you. It will automatically allow you to lose your job,
Yes.
possibly.
Yes.
As your friend is retired. Now, can you just only imagine going home with only your pension? What are you
Yes.
going to do?
Yes.
You're the caregiver. You don't have time for yourself. You don't have time for yourself to maybe go get your hair done. You possibly can't even go to the beach, take a nature walk. That's not possible because then your mind is still on, your daughter or your son who actually needs care. That, of course, is where we come in.
Absolutely.
And of course, you do need that financial back.
You need
You
it.
need that financial
And
back.
again, I understand a lot of persons will say to me, as a financial coach, I don't believe in insurance. I don't believe in this. Well, let me tell you, the social worker researcher, Elaine Brody, found that in every family in which an aging parent required care, there was usually one burden bearer, a single member who bore the brunt of the responsibilities, even when there was other family members who could help. And so again, I'm not recommending a particular insurance or a particular investment. I'm recommending a plan. You see what I'm saying? And the joke is that Brody wrote this research in 1966. So this isn't like a yesterday thing.
It's been around forever.
Been around forever. The burden bearer is usually patient,
Yes.
self-sacrificing, but bitter. The burden bearer is angry. How have you seen this?
Okay. The bitterness comes out of frustration.
Right.
And it's only human that when you're going through any sense of stress, bitterness is going to come up because you're like, I can't do this. You have to take yourself back, like, okay, let me breathe. Because even just having your own child without any sense of that child is even sick or anything, you just sometimes the child making a lot of noise, you get so frustrated.
Right.
You have parents who have to lock themselves in the bathroom just to take that breather because you just need it. Now, when you find that one person who is doing all that work and you realize that there is every corner you turn is like a block.
Yes.
You feel like you're having a meltdown.
Yes.
Now, in my experience, listen to me, oftentimes it's kind of weird, but oftentimes that one person gets sick.
Yes.
That one person die.
The caregiver
leave
gets
the person
sick and they leave the person.
Yes, leave the person who is actually they were taken care of.
Wow.
Now this is big because then you're like, oh, we can take it on. No, you just can't.
It's not just your career.
It's not just a career at
It's your
stake.
life.
It's your life.
Wow.
Your life is at stake. So oftentimes my clients, what they would do, they would take their vacation. And of course, that's where we come in.
Right.
You need that vacation. You need to go and eat that fish. You need to go on that date. You need to go and watch that movie because that's how you're not going to get bitter to the point that maybe you start to abuse your loved one. You don't necessarily want to, but that's when it comes in. It just possibly seep in. You just like they're maybe feeding your like I have a client. He's such a wonderful husband to his wife. No, he's feeding his wife, and she's not taking it in. No, he understands the process of being a natural caregiver. He don't go to any school. He don't know anything about how to. But he's a natural caregiver. So he said to me, nurse, I started using a spoon because she's not drinking from the bottle. No, he didn't draw for a straw because then possibly she wouldn't pull it from the straw either. He started using a spoon. When he realized that she's actually not swallowing, he said, I gave up and I told her to just spit it in the towel. No, that's natural caregiving.
He's a good husband.
Yes, and an
not
amazing...
like my former husband, Aubrey. He wouldn't do that for me, he's horrible.
You see? So then automatically we realize how caregiving is just natural.
Yeah.
And we just have to understand when to pull back because we have a nurse there.
Yes.
So he understands that he needs the pullback, not only for himself, but also for his wife.
Absolutely.
And his kids.
Now, the critical thing I'm getting from this is to build a team. Okay? If you have parents, if you have children, if you have yourself, yeah? Build a team. I want you to take that away from this session. So we're not just saying reach out to the nurses of Eliza Care, which is important. You need a financial coach. You also need a wellness plan. Do you go to the gym, yoga? You need a spiritual plan. How much time do you spend at your church so that you can get spiritual food? And here's the thing about having a team and having the financial plan, because you can get help to hire people to do the tactical things like groceries, cooking, helping the children, so that you can be there for more important things. Because listen, in our culture, it's very common to have, someone come in for the day, clean the house. But we're talking about caregiving.
Yes.
This is different.
Difference.
What would you say is the main difference between someone who comes in once a week to tidy your house and caregiving?
With a caregiver, we have medical eye.
Medical
so with
eye,
that
I
medical
like.
eye is very, very, very unique. For example, I'll be on the bus.
Yes.
And I see somebody come on the bus.
Yes.
I will look from you from head to toe, depending on your color.
Yes.
Your skin tone. I'll see your feet, or I look at your nails.
Yes.
I look at your eyes.
Yes.
And I can hear your speech.
Wow.
And I can just say, okay, there's something going on.
Right. So I can say to go look at my ex-husband Aubrey and you tell me what's wrong with him.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And then I will, I'll just say, come here, what's going on? I remember walking to a post office and the lady that was actually collecting the funds from me, I hold her hand and I said, what's going on?
Wow.
And she's like, oh, what? And she started breaking down.
Wow.
And she said, is there some, which we talk about spiritual eye also.
Yes,
and you
people
have
have a
to be,
spiritual eye
and you
and a
also
medical eye, yes.
have to be grounded in a lot of
Yes.
sense and pray. And when I held her hand, she's like, what? And she didn't tell me what was going on, but I could actually see her skin color, just the texture of her skin. When I held her hand, I could actually, feel a difference. So that's what a caregiver does. We have a medical eye. And then not only just a medical eye, but real caregivers and nurses, they can actually see beyond all of that.
Wow. So we're back to the team. And I don't want to forget emotional support. You need to be around people who love you.
Love you.
Yeah, it's as simple as that.
Love you.
So we're talking about a financial team. We're talking about people with a medical eye.
Yes.
We're talking about household help. We're talking about people who love you. Okay, that's your financial plan for caregiving. And I'll go so far as to say support at work. Having a mentor, having advocacy for your career. Because I can remember when my child was born with special needs, I didn't have an advocacy in my career at the time.
A team.
I didn't have a soul, that business. And because maybe at the time when I had him, people weren't as sensitive about the demands of someone who has special need, person in their family. And one study found that caregivers work an average of 52 hours a week on caregiving duties,
Yes.
different from their regular 9-to-5 job.
No, let me tap into that.
Yes,
'Cause
tap into that.
Let me talk about myself. I remember I was working at a particular facility, and I was at work until I could barely even look at my child. I just couldn't. I couldn't because I was thinking about work.
Yes.
And when you're a natural caregiver,
Yes.
you tend to care so much about your clients that you often push your own life
Yes.
aside.
Yes.
Just like any job, you love your job, you're at work.
Yes.
It's just about us being caregivers.
Yes.
We oftentimes care so much that when we're not with our clients, we're outside thinking how best we can help our clients.
But here's the thing, you see that 52 hours, you can outsource that.
Yes.
And again, we're back to having a financial plan as a caregiver, because scheduling daily tasks, organizing these tasks, this makes your day more challenging. And so if you have the funds to outsource, this is back to insurance, investing, creating a plan. This is how you fulfill your role as a caretaker, but you are not drained to the point where, to the extreme, you die. Yeah. Okay. So, listen, we're back to the idea that the power of the purse, can give you access to resources to help with your health and your wealth. Miss Venish of Eliza Care, thank you so much.
Thank you, Denise, for having us.
You are welcome. So we are here to say to you, visit the website financiallyfocusedmedia.com. Get some ideas on financial independence. It matters. As a caregiver, you matter. We're not asking you not to love your person, your family member. We're not asking that. We're asking for you to create a plan, create a team. Yeah? And so we're here at Financially Focused. We're here to support you. Now you know all about Eliza Care.
Yes.
You can get support there. My name is Denise Williams. I'm your host and approved financial coach. I'll see you next time.